Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
So I think this was a question asked before, there's about 12 people who are producing 65% of anti-vaccine misinformation on social media platforms. All of them remain active on Facebook, despite some even being banned on other platforms, including Facebook, ones that Facebook owns. Third, it's important to take faster action against harmful posts. As you all know, information travels quite quickly on social media platforms. Sometimes it's not accurate, and Facebook needs to move more quickly to remove harmful violative posts. Posts that will be within their policies for removal often remain up for days. That's too long. The information spreads too quickly. Finally, we have proposed they promote quality information sources in their feed algorithm. Facebook has repeatedly shown that they have the leverage to promote quality information. We've seen them effectively do this in their algorithm over low quality information, and they've chosen not to use it in this case, and that's certainly an area that would have an impact. So these are certainly the proposals. We engage with them regularly, and they certainly understand what our asks are.
And one of the problems.
That's Jen Psaki, the spokesman for Joe Biden, saying the quiet part out loud. The U.S. federal government is now telling the big tech giants what are or aren't problematic ideas, not criminal ideas. I believe there should be some regulation of the internet in the same way there's some regulation of real life. If you commit a terrorist act, if you utter a death threat, that could be a crime in cyberspace as much as it is on a telephone or in person. But these aren't crimes. This is a call for censorship. The modern town square is owned by a handful of oligarchs in Silicon Valley. That makes it easy for censorship to be done at a stroke of a key on a keyboard. It's like living in a company town if you're a minor, except for the company town is the entire world. Well, Facebook is a leading censor, and we know this not only from our own experience at Rebel News, but from talking to the Facebook whistleblower. You'll recall we interviewed him shortly after he left one of Facebook's censorship factories in Arizona, a company called Cognizant that had hundreds of censors working around the clock, censoring not just American news, but from their Phoenix headquarters, censoring the 2019 Canadian election. That Facebook whistleblower, Ryan Hartwig, joins us now via Skype. Ryan, nice to see you again. It was a bombshell, your revelation that Facebook actively censors politics, but it doesn't even seem controversial anymore. Everyone's sort of acknowledging it, including the White House.
Yeah, and that clip you saw with Jen Psaki is really shocking, because she even admits that Facebook has the ability to promote certain quality content. And that totally flies in the face of the original intentions of Section 230, because they should only be able to restrict, lewd or content that's damaging, that's harmful. Well, and of course that definition of harmful is left to Facebook's imagination on how they define it. And that what she just said, that could be used in Trump's brand new lawsuit, because his lawsuit argues that Facebook is receiving instructions from the White House, and that's even clear. That's much more clear now. Jen Psaki mentioned proposals. They have proposals for Facebook. So, and just yesterday she said that they're flagging the information for Facebook. So it's the difference between giving someone permission and instructing them to do so. And it seems like the government is instructing Facebook to flag certain posts.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Section 230. I think our viewers know that Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, it gives publishers immunity to take down obscene material, but it's being used to give them immunity from any legal recourse. But the whole idea was that they were a neutral platform, like a bulletin board on the wall that shouldn't be responsible for what people tack to it. But when they're taking instructions, when they're boosting approved content and throttling bad content, like what you were doing as a Facebook censor, I don't know how Section 230 can even give them any protection. I want to talk about your new book, because the timing couldn't be more perfect. It's actually incredible. The book is called Behind the Mask of Facebook: Learn How to Fight Big Tech Censorship to protect free speech, and the book is on pre-order now. It'll be out in just about a month, August 17th. I'm going to order my copy because I actually want to know how to fight big tech censorship, not just as an intellectual exercise, but our company depends on it. Tell me about the book.
Yeah, it's so the book is basically my analysis of all the policies that I studied at Facebook. So I studied Facebook's internal policy documents for 2 years, nearly 2 years, and so it's some of it's really deep analysis, which is good because we want to know the details, the juicy details. But it's also fun. So there's a chapter called Trump pumpers and feminazis, Facebook's slanted approach to bullying. But it really just gives it's kind of that narrative of me. I'm going into this job kind of a naive about what I would experience, and I grew up very religious, and here I was exposed to the most shocking content in the world. I had to see cartel videos, beheadings, child nudity, pornography, bestiality. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is on a global scale, Facebook is censoring this political content. They're having us flag trends, including in the election in Canada with Jagmeet Singh, and telling us to look for hate speech about Jagmeet Singh. Yeah. And so that's the book, Behind the Mask of Facebook. My co-author, Kent Heckenlively, is a renowned author. He co-authored with Judy Mikovits, Plague of Corruption. So yeah, I'm super excited for the book. I just really wanted to get the story out there, and I hope it can be used in future lawsuits and battles against big tech.
That's an excerpt from my daily show, The Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.